La. Whew. I don't know why I try to do something different every week. Yep, we're doing it on Saturday again. Last week I couldn't do it because I was doing we had the tea. Hola, everyone. Welcome. I'm on the patio again. Let's see. Setting up the Facebook page, and I realize that I am. Hello, everybody. Make sure your volume is on that you can hear me, right? This is showing. No bueno. Okay. Hola. All right, so I'm moving my. I'm sitting on the patio. So, all right. How's everybody doing? Hola, Rita, Auntie Eva. I'm sure it's Eva, right? I'm really good at messing people's names. I apologize. All right, sis. Stop talking. Okay. ¿Qué está pasando? Stop that. Sorry, I'm still trying to get this situated. All right, that's all right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live. I'm still trying to get this. Oh, okay, good. I am not that savvy. No, not this one. Um, then this stuff. Post. Yeah. I'm right here. I'll be with you in just. I cannot remember how to do this. Okay. More. Oh, there we go. You got to figure out where to find the right button. And there we go. All right, everybody. Welcome to the live. Welcome to Saturday. Eva. Okay. I figured that's what it was. It was like Eva. Mm-mm. It's like I'm teaching my kid, my ladies this morning. I was so encouraged. They're doing so much better with their Spanish. But we have been together now since April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. It's been 7 months, and I'm now starting to see progress. So I'm like, don't give up. It's going to take time. And I did tell them that learning Spanish is a journey, right? I hope it doesn't get too warm in here because I'm on the patio again. But anyway, hi, Deborah. How are you? So start writing your questions, and then. But I thought I would start today talking about the month of November in Panama. If you saw my last video, I talked about the Fiestas Patrias. Every time you hear the word Patria in Panama, it means the country, the motherland. Our country, 'tis of thee. And Panamanians are so into their culture and their homeland. They're so proud and so they are into their country, their culture, to preserve it, to celebrate. And if you know anything about Panama, you know they celebrate a lot. That's why work is not like paramount. Yeah, you have to work so you can buy stuff, but we don't feel upset. They don't feel obsessed to buy homes. You know how we go and we get a 30-year mortgage. They're not, pressured. Just like in Europe, people can spend their whole life renting and they're cool with it. But they take their holiday, they take their breaks when they work. It's that culture here. So I think it has to do a lot with the colonization and the mindset. Where America got this, you got to, push and push and push till you drop. And then Japan doing the same thing, and China, all these people who are obsessed with success and money. And we don't have that here. So the month of November is a special month in Panama. This is what they call Mes de la Patria. It's the homeland, it's a patriotic month. So my video, the one I did on Monday. Usually I do those. I did on Thursday. On Monday I do educate. That means I'm educating you about the Panama and the culture, and I'm keep doing that. But because I knew this month was coming, I did not want to miss an opportunity to educate you about what Panama is all about. I did a couple of videos about Panama culture. I think I have two videos, so you can go back and look at those. But it's a little bit different, right? That culture, when I talk about it, it's more about, the norms, right? Like greetings and certain things you do and you don't do, cover your hair or not, dress code and all that. That's culture as well. But in November, it's all about patriotism. It's like about the country, how the country became what it is, and how they like it, and how they want to preserve the history. So, if you know anything about Panama, you've seen the pollera. The pollera is that beautiful outfit. It's usually a top and a skirt with the embroidery, and then all the the shirt, and then all the jewelry, and then the headpieces. That is a remnant of Spanish history, right? The Spanish were here in Central and Latin America for over 300 years. That's a long time to stamp their culture into the land. So if you go anywhere in Latin America, right? We are in Central, but let's see, is it Costa Rica to the west, and then Colombia, and then you go down all the way to Chile? You're gonna see very strong Spanish influence from the food, the dress, the music, the um, the holidays, religion, of course. Catholicism is really big. I remember being in hola, whoever is in on Facebook, welcome. When I went to Peru, it's like every time somebody passed the church, they'll do this. They do the same thing here, and they have so many Catholic holidays, processions, and they I don't want to say they worship, but they're heavy into their saints, saint this, saint that. And then every time they have a holiday like that, they'll say, "Oh yes, said so and so. I'm so grateful. He helped me. I was sick, and he helped me heal." I am not here to debate people's faith, right? I'm just saying I was raised Catholic. And I know when I went to a Catholic church here, even though it was in Spanish, but it was like the ritual, the singing, the up, back and forth. The priest said something, the congregation answers was the same thing, and then you go get the Eucharisty, you get the communion, same thing. So that's pervasive in Latin America. But in November, I don't know who decided on this month. What we celebrate here in Panama, because I'm telling you, it's patriotism. It's like we're proud of our country. We love the way it is and we're going to preserve it, right? So today is November 1st. I think yesterday they had some events to bring in the patriotic month. So in some churches, not churches, some schools, and in some public spaces, like at the presidential palace, or maybe at a government office, they had a ceremony where they burned the flag. Listen, I think I wrote something, is it that goes this afternoon, about the burning of the flag. It doesn't mean the same thing here in Panama. The burning of the flag is a sign of reverence to the flag. And they say what they do also, if a flag has been flying for a long time and then it's getting a little bit raggedy looking and then, kind of old and worn out, they don't just put it in the trash. Oh, no, 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 no. That would be showing disrespect to the flag. They fold it as if they, when somebody from the armed services die, they have a certain way of folding it, and then they burn it. So I'm wondering if they save some of the old flags, and then on the day before November 1st, because yesterday they had the bomberos, which are the firemen. The firemen are really busy and very involved in the culture here. So they set up a couple of places, and I think even they use a certain type of wood, and then when the flames start, and then somebody somberly carries the flag with respect, handed it to the bomberos, to the firemen, and then they burn it. The idea is, if you burn the flag, you're showing respect. It's like the flag has done its thing, and then you're returning it to the earth with the ashes. I wonder if they do anything with the ashes. They might bury it. Kind of like when I get cremated, my daughter said, "What do you want to do with the ashes?" I'm like, "Don't worry about spreading it anywhere. You could just under a tree, dig it and put it in there." She's like, "Oh, you want to be fertilizer?" First of all, I was like, Now I'm like, "Oh, sure. Just find my plants and put a little bit in each one of them and let me grow through them. I don't mind at all." But anyway, that's what they do with the flag. So the burning of the flag doesn't have the same connotation as it does in our, culture, where it's showing disrespect. People are protesting. Mm-mm. The flag is very revered and respected here in Panama. Oh, I should have showed you I have two little ones. So when I go to the parades, we're gonna have lots of parades. Last year, I just stuck one in my hair. Well, if I had braids, I don't think they would hold today. But in this patriotic month, we're gonna see, in front of my building. I posted a picture today. They had a big, what we call bandera. That's what they call the flag. So I took a picture in front of the bandera. Now, people in their cars, they're gonna have flags. It's kind of like Christmas, where people put the elves and stuff in their cars. Most every building, business is gonna have flags flying, because that's a patriotic month. It's that big. So today is Children's Day, and I don't think it's typically Panamanian. It might be an international thing. So they have things at the parks for the kids, and the government is very involved in that, giving gifts and stuff. The 2nd of November is All Saints Day, or All Souls Day. And then I was like, it's like Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. So they celebrate, it's like our Memorial Day in the US. They celebrate those who are fallen to defending the country, La Patria. Remember Patria? They also celebrate their dead, the regular average citizen. You know how we have, what do we call that? Day of the Dead in the US? And it's also celebrated on December 2nd. So all through Central and Latin America, mañana, tomorrow, es el Dia de los Muertos. That means we celebrate, we remember. It's a remembrance of those who have passed. So if you go to a cemetery here, you're going to see people come. They're raking, they bring fresh soil, they plant flowers. That is the time when they remember they're dead. I'm not saying that's the only time they do that, but that is the Day of the Dead, after Halloween. I was confused with Mexico because I remember watching them in the streets wearing the mask and stuff for Dia de los Muertos because it's huge in Mexico City. But then when I looked, I checked it out online. It says their day is November 2nd. So if anybody knows why they were partying, maybe they have a week long celebration. I don't know. But anyway, mañana is Dia de los Muertos, okay? And in Panama, listen, we celebrate Dia de los Muertos differently. I'm having some hibiscus tea. Oh, I can show it to you. I found hibiscus flowers here. Flor de Jamaica. Oh, Jamaica. Oh my God. Okay. Whew. So, when it is a day like tomorrow, it's what we call a somber day. So just like in our mind, we are trying to remember, you know how in the States, Veterans and Memorial Day in the State, we just eat, right? Yes. We eat here too. But the government says it is a somber day. You are not allowed to drink alcohol mañana, el Dia de los Muertos. So if you have it in your home, whatever you do in your home is okay. But you cannot go to a bar. We cannot play loud music. There will be no fireworks. It's a tone down showing respect for those who have fallen. That is Noviembre, 2 de noviembre, November 2nd. So tomorrow, if you were to, you can buy your booze like today. But tomorrow, if you go to the stores where they have the alcohol, that aisle going to be taped off, and no one's allowed to go in there to buy alcohol. This sister was so funny. She said, "Well, I didn't know about this dia seco. They call it dry day. Dia seco. I didn't know that I couldn't buy alcohol." She said, "I saw the tape, so I went underneath and grabbed the bottle." When she got to the checkout line, they just ripped that bottle out of her head and put it away. And I think in Panama, when you break the law, they have fines. They have fines. You bring hibiscus. Yeah, very good. So, dia seco. And we have dia seco means dry days, right? Seco, dry, dia, day. But we do have some other days, like Good Friday is another day like that. But we have a very young mayor here. And I think there was one holiday that was Dia Seco, that was a dry day. And he kind of petitioned the assembly. The assembly here is like the Congress, to allow people to serve alcohol, especially in those very touristy area. Because I know from owning a restaurant, you don't make money by serving food. The money is in the booze, right? When you get a glass of wine for $8, $10. Like I went to an event not too long ago, and everybody was drinking alcohol. I'm like, let me have a sangria, and they brought me like a little, I want to say like a carafe, but it was like big. And then when the bill came, it was like $39. I'm like, ooh, that's an expensive sangria. Like, no mass. So he was petitioning for them to allow, some of the restaurant to sell alcohol, but not tomorrow. Tomorrow is a solemn day. No alcohol, no loud music. So what's happening also in Panama is that whenever you have these major holidays, and we have 8 major holidays here in November alone. And in those days, there's no school, the banks don't open. All right, those are national holidays. And I think people are supposed to get paid for them. But anyway, I'm not into the laws of the land. But what people do when they have these days, a lot of people come from the interior of the country to come and work here in the city. So like the day before major holidays, like today, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, those are major holidays. And the fifth is in Cologne. They just go home. They're on the roads driving, 4 or 5 hours to be with their family. Because in Panama, I mean, just like we do for Thanksgiving and other holidays, they want to be with that familia. Okay, this is a very family focused, friendly country. So yesterday, Albrook, the main terminal was bombed. I was going to an event, the traffic, OMG. That's why I don't want to drive in the city, especially around holidays and around the weekend. Everybody empties out. So tomorrow, the city is going to be quiet because a lot of the workers would have left to go back to the interior. So those of us who are staying in the city, we're going to have parades galore. So all through November, we're going to eat, we're going to drink, maybe not alcohol tomorrow, but they're still going to drink. They're going to have parties, no loud music tomorrow, but other days. They're going to the beach with the family, and then they're going to have parades. In Panama, every school pretty much has a band, and the band is not just musical, like you think of the HBCU type kind of band, but then they have the they choreograph the movement, and you see the girls walking around, and they talk. I mean, they prepare all year long, and they have outfit, and everybody is trying to outdo the other in terms of the ingenuity and the creativity on creating the outfit. When I first started coming in here, the kids were wearing like clogs or whatever. Now they have fancy boots all the way up to the on top of their knees, and it's like with the thing they twirl. And listen, it's a production. So we're gonna have parades not tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, the 5th in Cologne, the 10th in a place called Los Santos, which is inside the country, and I'm gonna tell you why. And the 28th is the other holiday. The thing people need to understand about holidays here, those holidays in November, when the banks close, the banks don't open at 9 here anyway. Okay, so if you want to go to the bank, just start going around 10, 10:30, 11. That's when they open. And after a holiday, they open later to allow people to come back from wherever they went to. So let's see, Monday they're going to be closed. Tuesday they're going to be closed. Wednesday is in Cologne, so they're going to reopen on Wednesday here, maybe at 12:31 p.m. That happened to me. I had to go, and I was like, oh, so I had to sit, get a cappuccino, and wait for them to open. Nothing moves fast in Panama. Usted lo sabe, okay? Mañana tranquilo. So I am so looking forward to those parades, and then they start like 8, 9 o'clock. Well, when they say that might be 10, okay. Remember, time and tiempo. It depends. We start when we're ready. Relax. Don't be looking at your watch and say, "Oh, they said 9 o'clock." Okay. So So that was tomorrow, all right? Family is going to be together. They're going to eat, but just remembering the dead and all that is somber. We need to slow down. Oh, yeah. I think people who come here, some people have a hard time adjusting. But if you knew that's, the culture you're coming to, you would think some people would be ready, boy, you'd be surprised. Some of the comments and what they're going through. Oh my God, I can't believe this. I called so and so, left a message, they don't call me back. It's like they will when they're ready. Not today, maybe not tomorrow. I think we all have had to adjust, okay? And it makes your experience a lot better. That's why when you come here, your stress is like, relax. Nothing is that urgent. All right. The 3rd of November is when they celebrate Panama's separation from Colombia. Panama used to be part of Colombia. And I think every single one of you who is interested in Panama should go read about the history. Panama is a lot more than the canal. Okay? So I think in the 18 something, there was something called the Grand Colombia, which was Colombia, Ecuador, Venezuela, um, another one. I don't remember. So they were together, and then they fell apart and separated, but Colombia and Panama stayed together until 1903, when Panama said, we want to be on our own, and they separated from Colombia with the support of the United States. And you need to go watch my video that I did drop on Thursday, because America wanted first dibs in building the canal after the French had failed at trying to do it in the 1880s. All right? The French agreed to build a canal based on the Suez Canal, for the ships to go through. They thought they could do it. But what they did not expect was that how hard and hardy the terrain was. And then there was like yellow fever and all kind of tropical diseases that their little European, you know, body was not used to. So the workers were dying. I think they said 20,000 people died from diseases. So they're like, oh, we can't do it. Let's get out of here. So they left. See, because the Spanish realized that the colonizers, right, that Panama, because Panama is like this, right, between North and South America, it's an isthmus. It's a narrow stretch of land. Because when the ships were coming from Europe and Asia, they had to go from the Pacific all the way to the end, South America, and to turn around to go to the Atlantic. But if they could cut a pathway through Panama, then they don't have to go all the way down to go back to Asia and Europe. So that's what they did. So the Americans said, okay, we can do this. We can do this. And, they're smart anyway. So they said, well, if you separate from Colombia, we're going to help you. So they did support Panama in separate from Colombia. So that's what they celebrate on the 3rd of November, 1903. So I think they said it's 122 years or something. I kept reading about, of separation. When I first wrote about that, I'm like, oh, 2 Independence Day, independence from Colombia, independence from Spain. And then, of course, somebody was quick to say, no, we were not dependent, we were not colonized or whatever by Colombia. We just separated. I'm like, okay, thank you. And I'm always very appreciative, especially I'm not a national. I may have my facts wrong because I'm getting it from ChatGPT and Google, so it may be inaccurate. So it's separation. But in 1821, Panama did gain independence from Spain, and that's what we celebrate on November 28th. That is a total of independence, like you think of Africa and other places. But separation from Colombia on November 3rd. November 4th, which is Tuesday, we celebrate Symbols Day. Symbols is really the flag and the emblem of the country. They celebrate that. So flag, la Patria, dancing, eating, parade, all of that. On the 5th of November, they celebrate Independence Day again, but this time in Cologne. Cologne is the second largest province here. Third? I thought David was the second or third. But they said in Cologne, that's where the last troops from Colombia left to go back home, causing a total separation. They celebrate independence there in Cologne. In Cologne, that is a hotbed of Afro-Panamanian culture, Congo culture, and the Congo culture is like the fight between the local and the evil white person, and that's why they kind of put that stuff on their face, and they're always trying to dance together, and then they're pushing the Diablo. We have the Diablo. It's a whole different culture, and that's the only place in the country where you have the Congo. So when you look at the pollera from Spain, beautiful, and they have multiple types of polleras. Okay, polleras are not only white; they have all kinds of colors. And I attended a program at a museum where they explained which region, what their pollera looks like and what it means. I mean, it was a lot. I appreciated that. But the Congo pollera, in true fashion from slavery, it's like they took like little pieces of cloth that was discarded and they sewed it together to make their own polleras. So that's why the Congo pollera, I mean the form, the aesthetic looks the same, but it's very different from the regular polleras. So when we have any kind of presentation, something at a theater or at the airport, listen, during those days, you could be shopping at a mall and then there comes a procession of kids. They do that. You come to the airport and they'll have another parade. This is Panama for you, okay? Casco Viejo, which is the old town. Oh my God, it's like every day there's a party. There is a procession, there's a parade, and the polleras are moving, and then the guys, the guys with the hat, and they have the hat flipped like that, and they're dancing with the arms up with the ladies. Listen, it's a beautiful thing to see. And I do my best to post those things on the Facebook page so you guys can see. When you see those, and I always say, this is Panama, okay? Because that's the spirit of the people. So on the 5th, we're in Cologne. So Cologne's going to have parades, and they're going to start parading, not tomorrow, but maybe they started today. I mean, who says you can parade today? Because we're starting the month. They probably have parades somewhere. And so the 5th is in Cologne. Then we have a little break, and on the 10th, they celebrate in a place here called Los Santos. Los Santos is one of the 10 provinces, probably 4 hours from here from the city. They said that was the spot where the first cry for independence started. Maybe they were the first troublemakers. So so they go celebrate there, right? We're still gonna celebrate here, but I myself, I'd like to just drive over there and see what's so different. But I know it's gonna be a lot of food, a lot of music, and parades, right? And then we get a nice little break in between from the 10th to the 28th when they celebrate independence from Spain. And that one is the big one, is the last one, and fireworks and music. And whenever there is a fiesta in Panama, la música, it doesn't die. If you have neighbors who want to play their music, there is no noise ordinance here. They can play it as loud and as long as they want. You're not going to be saying, oh, let's call the cops. It's too noisy here. No. The dogs will be barking. The music will be playing till 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. So bring your earplugs and stop fussing. You are in Panama. And that's what they do. All right? So those are the things that we celebrate in November here in Panama. Or the fashion show, the food festival, yes, that was Sabores Alrededor del Mundo, flavors around the world. We had different countries with different booths. We had Qatar, we had Spain, Georgia, not the state, the country, Israel, Germany, all of that. And they all wore their traditional country outfit, and then they had food because it was a fundraiser for charity. So I got to taste pisco sour again from Chile because I've been to Chile a couple of times and I love it. I had baklava from a couple of places, and then the pièce de résistance was that paella that I had from Spain. And then I forgot to take the name of that restaurant so I could go get more paella. That black rice was amazing. So people tell you in November, the citizenry, people's mind just switched to party, 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 party. So don't try to do anything business related, deliveries, people supposed to come fix things for you. You talk about mañana? Well, I don't know. It could take a lot longer. And then because their mindset is like la patria, la patria. The other thing you see during this month is they wear the traditional folkloric outfit. So they're gonna have the skirt, they're gonna have the shirt. The ladies have the embroidered shirt. Sometimes it's across off the shoulders, and then they'll have the real long gold jewelry, and then they'll have the head, the thing in the hair. You know, the two big, I don't know what you call it, with beaded uh, hair decoration pieces. I think I want to get a couple of those. So you're gonna see that a lot all over the country, not just the city. And then they have the little kids outfit. Oh, it's so cute. But it's not Carnival. Carnival is in February. Then we have Christmas and New Year. And Christmas is gonna be maybe some procession from the Catholic churches, but nothing as big as this month, and then Carnival. I think it's just a few days, and then Semana Santa that we have like in April, March, April. That's a whole week of processions and activities. But anyway, that's my story, trying to tell you what's happening here in Panama. But I love to sit there. You know, I have one of those folded chairs, so I'm gonna take one with me. We have two routes for the parades on Monday, Tuesday, and then on the 28th. Where I live, one of the routes always goes close to where my building is, Casco Viejo, and then over here. And then they have a new route this week from Iglesia del Carmen to Via Argentina metro station. That's a new route where people can go. You know, it's like going to like a Christmas parade. You know, people go stake their claim, put their chairs there, and you sit there and you watch the procession. And like I said, almost every school has a band. So they're going to have between 40 and 50 groups going through. That's a lot to watch. And in that, you're going to have the indigenous people are going to be in there. You're going to have the pollera dancers, you're going to have the Congo dancers, and then you're going to have the indigenous. We have three major indigenous groups here. And Gabe Bugle, that's from Chiriquí and Bocas del Toro. We have the Guna Yala, which is the one that close to San Blas in that area there. And then you have the what's the other one? From the Darien, closer to Colombia, we have another group there. So they all wear different outfits and their dances are different. So they're all going to be part of the celebration. And that's what makes Panama a beautiful country of paella. That means they don't dismiss anybody, right? So you're gonna have all this, in the parade every time. Every time you're gonna see the indigenous people dancing. You're gonna have pollera parade in the parade. You're gonna have Congo dancers, and a lot of times in that parade, I see the police force. Remember, Panama doesn't have an army per se, so we can't go to war with anybody. But what they have is a security detail. They do security, presidential security. If you go anywhere in Panama, at the metro station, the bus station, you see police everywhere, hanging in the corner, everywhere, right? But they are not threatening. That's the difference. And naval means, they watch the waters and they do exercises. You have the canals, you have to have security. the US is involved in all that security thing. And so that's what we have. But we don't have an army that's going to fight. Mm-mm. The dogs celebrate. Yes, they have their little outfits, but the dogs don't like so much noise. But sometimes I see them, with their little hats and stuff. It's cute. Very cute. All right. That's what I have for you today. So if you have any question, ask me. The fashion show. We need to slow down. Yes. Um, any questions, you guys? I was thinking earlier that when I talk about the family is important, am I going to dress up? I haven't bought anything, Miss Eva, but because let me tell you, those polleras they cost thousands of dollars, and I'm like, no. And then the guys wear the white guayaba they call it, the double pockets, long shirt, embroidered. The guys wear that, and because if you're watching a pollera dance, you're gonna see them. And then they wear the Panama hat. I have my Panama hat that I have, and then the guys would flip it up. And then the music when they do the procession and the desfile, they have the band tamborino, which is something that is very part of the culture that they also I do speak Spanish, and they also inherit from Africa, right? So they have a lot of accordion, which is a Spanish influence, right? And of course they have the flute and the whatever you find in a band, but that tamborino is big. Now, Bocas del Toro, which is the second place where you have the largest Afro-Panamanian, they're a little bit different. They're more into calypso, and they dress it different from the Congo, from Cologne. Cologne is more reggae-ish, right? Reggae and rap. Those, people say that reggaeton originated here in Panama, in Cologne. Well, that's always a fight about it. I'm like, whatever. It's like talking about who makes the best jollof. I'm like, I don't want to get into that. But yeah, that's important. They're just all of them in there. Do you speak Spanish? Yes, I speak enough Spanish to be understood, and I teach Spanish online too. Basic conversation. So now I have like I have an African Ghana-ish looking shirt. I might wear that, but it's not Panamanian at all. And my hair, that I wish I could go buy a couple of those things and do maybe a couple of braids and then put. Yeah, I think I want to do that. But I should have gotten it today. I haven't left the house today. I taught Spanish. I went to the store this morning to get fish to cook tomorrow, and then I taught Spanish, and then I've been sitting here working on my cookbook. Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. And like somebody wrote today, they said, I'm here to experience the culture. She said, I came in, I flew in, and I went to bed and I experienced the culture. My neighbor had the music going till 5 o'clock. I said, yes, that's the way to experience the culture. The first time I went to bed and I was like, oh my God, I could not sleep. It was 4:30 before that music stopped. And where I live, I'm right across from the Malecon. They have a stage where they set up some speakers and stuff. So it's almost like it's here in my living room. So sometimes I leave and I go to the mall or something just to get some peace of mind. People travel sometimes around those times because it gets so loud. Because once you've done the parade a couple of times, you're like, I don't need to see it again. I can go on vacation, go somewhere quieter. That is an option. And some people do that. All right, ladies and gents, any questions? I don't see any questions in the chat. Well, do you guys still want me to do the live? Because if you don't have questions, I don't need to do it, you know. So let me know. Now you see right now I'm smelling somebody smoking probably below me or above me. Somebody asked me one time, do they smoke a lot here? No. Very rarely do I see somebody with a cigarette. I don't see cigars, but of course I don't go to bars. I don't go to any place where it's dark and with drinking. I don't know what happens in those places. But in the street, no. All right. I am new to the channel and it's very helpful. And well, I'm glad you'll be visiting in November. Very good, very good. I did another video maybe a couple of weeks ago saying um, you may not need to do a scouting trip because a lot of people are trying to get out quick and then you're putting your money together. A scouting trip is costly, right? You got to pay airlines. The airlines are very expensive these days. You got to you got to book Airbnbs. And now that we are going into the high season, Panama, mid-December, or even from the beginning of December, is considered high season. That's when the rain starts to cool off and we don't have a lot of rain. It's drier. So people feel more comfortable visiting in the dry season, even though it's hotter, but you have less rain to mess up your day at the beach or whatever. Because like right now, we're entering the end of the episode for whale watching, right? So if you were to come here like this week with Melissa, you couldn't go whale watching. I mean, you could, but I wouldn't recommend being on a boat in the middle of the ocean in bad weather, right? People do die here of lightning strikes, so don't get it twisted. They die in the rivers. We lost two children in the rivers this week, and a 20-year-old because it rained so hard, the waters were really fast, and they fell in, and that was it. So people come here in the dry season, December through May, and when that happens, prices go up because Panama is becoming, I mean, it was always popular, but now it's more so because less people are going to the US. A lot of them are choosing to come here. So I remember, I'm like, where are you from? Oh, Canada, or, or Germany, or whatever. People are coming here, and Panama is I've met one person who visited saying, it was okay. Everybody's like, oh, wow, it's so nice. I felt good. People are nice. Yes, Panama has that reputation. And just in case you didn't know, 2 years in a row, Panama has been voted the best place to retire. 2 years running. Is there a large American expat group? Oh, yes, ma'am. There, there are so many groups here. See, I have a group I call Single Women Retiring Abroad. So I hang around the single women, but I'm not a party person, right? I'm on a couple or two or three Facebook group. Once in a while, I'll comment, but I am not out there going to the parties. They have events, they have live music, they have comedies. I don't go to those because that's not my jam. But I socialize with my sisters. We go. My The best thing I could do is I go to the theater when we have. I love ballet and classical music. Those things I like. The average American does not. They want to go where they're gonna have southern food and live music and oldies and stuff like that. I don't care for that. But people play pickleball. People go salsa dancing here. People do yoga. Some people bicycle. Some people we walk. Yes, because I have a big path in front of my building. And then we go to lunch, dinner, stuff like that. And then I volunteer with some kids, so that's good. Plus, I mean, my days are full, and I don't want to be over scheduled, but I stay busy. But they are. You have black expats in Panama. You have black women expats in Panama. You have single women retiring abroad. You have U.S. expats in Panama, and then they have some younger ones that I don't know about. People with children, they have expat groups, and then they have buy and sell. They have real estate. They have all kinds, lots and lots of groups. So you can choose how busy you stay here in Panama. It's up to you. And when you first get here, yeah, you want to do this. But I'm an introvert, I can go out and then I need to come back. I love coffee shops. But when I say, okay, I'm going to go buy a latte for $5, well, I can make a latte here and sit on the balcony. That's how I rationalize it in my head. You working on your escape plan? Yes, sis. Whew. Let me tell you, I was there in February and I don't think it was as bad as it has been the last few months. So I feel for y'all. Because even when I was there, it was like there was a heaviness hanging in the air. And then that's why people, when they go back and then they come back, they say, oh, we couldn't wait to get back because they feel so much lighter here. It's sad. Hello, Maggie. I will arrive on December 15th. Bienvenida. I would like to take Spanish. Oh, okay. I used to be an intermediate Spanish speaker. Very good. Are you accepting new students? If yes, how to sign up? Okay. I have three Spanish classes going now. I have one class that started last April, and they're the most advanced. I wouldn't say they're intermediate because we're still working on stuff. Then I have another class on Wednesday. All my classes are online via Zoom. Some people feel like they do better in a classroom setting. I said, well, I can help you because I'm retired. I can't really work in Panama, but I can do remote stuff. Um, and then my last class started 3 weeks ago. That's my most beginner class. Okay. So it depends on where you would fit in. If you say you used to be intermediate, what I would do usually, I say, okay, well, let's have a chat. Either we do a Zoom and I start talking to you, just testing your reading and comprehension. And then sometimes just the fact that I'm like, hola, ¿cómo estás? And it's like, like, okay, just relax. And sometimes I think even when you do the testing with people, it may not be accurate because they're nervous, right? But I don't have any other way to go back by that except this way. And then sometimes if I have a bunch of people who say, well, I'm the beginner, I'm like, okay, just let me take your name down. And when I get enough, usually I say for like five, then we start another class. Yes, Auntie, I know. Yes, my classes are all online. I don't teach, in groups. We're just online. But you know what? I find that we do pretty well. We have fun. I keep it really light. Just like you see it, that's how I teach. Even though sometimes, whew, it's like I say silent prayers because sometimes I'm like, are they ever going to get it? Oh my God. And the pronunciation, how you say, for them to learn a new alphabet. No, it's not A, it's I. It's not E, it's A. Oh, yeah, that trips them a lot. Okay, my schedules, my classes, I have my Saturday class, it's at 10 a.m. And then my Wednesday afternoon class is 6 p.m. My Thursday class is 6 p.m. So I prefer to do like between 4 and 6. It works best for me because usually I'll do things, I do consultation calls during the day, lunchtime, um, or I have meetings, lunch meeting and stuff, meeting with the sisters who are visiting. So most of my classes, what I don't want to do is do like every single day. I don't want to have classes every single day. So I would be okay doing an extra class maybe at 4 on Wednesday and then 4 on Thursday. So I know those afternoons are taken. On Saturday, because I'm here at 4 and I have one at 10, and my classes are never 1 hour, even though that's what I tell them. The classes, every single one goes about hour and a half. So, yep. Hola, family, Grandma Peaches. What a nice name. Maggie, do you know anything about the rail line that is being constructed? It hasn't started yet. It hasn't. It's still in development. Um, I want to say they did agree on the budget for it, but it has not started. But it will be amazing, and it's going to be a multi-year project. It's not going to be a 1 year. Right now, what we're working on is a third line for the metro. We have line one, line two. They're working on line three. That's going to finish in 26. That's going to connect Panama Oeste to the city, like Arahan, La Chorrera, um, what's that place? Costa Verde, all those places, Bacamonte, all those are Panama Oeste, which is the youngest, newest province, but it's grown so much. A lot of people move there because it's cheaper and they work in the city. So it takes them a long time to come to work, get back because they have to take the metro, change bus, and it's just taking long. So everybody can't wait for that third line. In fact, there's a sister here who does tours. She teaches you how to use the metro. She said, "You're not going to be able to find me when that line three, once that line three opens up. She's going to be on that metro because you can take the metro from wherever you are to the airport for 35 cents if you don't have heavy suitcase. If you have a backpack or a carry-on, 35 cents, and you can go to the airport instead of 25 or 30 for the Uber. hmm Saturday should work for you. Are you new, Miss Eva, or are you have you had some Spanish? The 10 a.m. Saturday class is most advanced, right? So that means we're speaking, we're constructing sentences, we're doing verb combination, we do present tense, past tense. Right now, we're doing future tenses. That's my Saturday class. And I can't put another class on Saturday that is a beginner. The classes are, I give an introduction of $20 a month for the first month, and then it's $50 after that. And we meet once a week. And I haven't missed yet, but if I miss, then I'll do an extra class, if I'm sick or whatever. But thank God I have not missed a class yet since April. Uh, I don't want to talk about my rent online in public like that. I think that is a kind of a private thing. The You speak un poco, okay? Rent has gone up here in the city, okay? So when I talked about, there's a video I did last week talk about, are we experiencing gentrification because the prices are going up? You know why? It's because there are so many of us who are trying to escape to come here. So lots of Americans are moving here. And it's not just retirees, the families are coming every single day. The attorneys can't keep up. Lots of visas being so because the demand is so high, the prices have gone up. So prices depends on location, and amenities. You want elevators. Do you want what we call a PH, which is a big high-rise building with 24-hour security and a backup generator and a backup water tank so you don't get interruption in your services. Safety. Do you want water views? So all those are going to um, affect the price. And there's a sister who's doing videos saying that you can live here for $1,000 a month. I don't know, but you can be in the city for that price. But she said that also she's showing people apartments for $450 a month. I don't know where they're at, and nor would I. They wouldn't be in a high-rise building. Paying that in a high-rise building. Those are like in like Panamanian neighborhoods. The homes are really small, and the rooms are like small, and the whole layout of the homes is different. Of course, if you're going to pay that little bit of money. This particular lady, La Treva, I'm sure you've seen her videos. She moved outside the city. She says she's paying 500 a month. That's beautiful, but she has a car and she gets around. Some of us don't want to have a car, and you want to be close to the metro and the bus line. You're not going to get that amount of money. But there was a lady who told me she paid 750 a month. 750 a month. You put food, your telephone, your cable, healthcare. You might be able to do it for $1,500 a month. So the rent in Panama City, which is where I'm at, could be anywhere from 1 bedroom to 2 bedroom, 900 to $2,000 a month, based on location, amenities, services, walkability, access. Okay. If you go outside the city, like places like La Chorrera, Arahan, Costa Verde is a little pricey because it's like a planned community with international schools, so people with a little bit of money. And they look like subdivisions, so they wouldn't be for somebody who is limited in their income. You go to David, Panama, which is 7 hours from the city, very much more affordable. But it's a different way of life. There is not a whole lot going on. And so it depends on what you want, right? But most people will tell you, oh yeah, prices in the city are going up. That's why I move outside. You could do that. But just know that it's gonna be a different experience. The homes you're gonna get are gonna be Panamanian style home, right? I'm talking separated, no open concept, none of that. And a lot of time the homes come, they include your electric or your internet, so you might go where your money is gonna go the farthest. But for my sisters, remember, I run a single older women's group. I tell them they need to be close to a hospital, close to their doctor, right? You don't want to go in some godforsaken area where you don't have access. You can't really find a cab very easy. That's a decision you have to make. How is Playa Dorado from the city? Oh, I think I've seen that. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I know Playa Blanca is about 15, 20 minutes from here. Playa Dorado, I mean, you could see it here. You just put your Google Maps in here and it will tell you Playa Dorado. And some people love the beach area. Now, we have Chame, we have Coronado, we have Nuevo Gorgona. There's a nice expat community there, Nuevo Gorgona. And they're not just, um, younger people. And they seem to like it. Playa, not Plaza. Playa. Dorado, Panama. Dorada, not Dorado, right? Dorada. Principal Playa Dorada. Let's see. It says about 40 minutes, 40, 45 minutes. I've never been there, so I can't really tell you anything about it. All right? Anything else? Um, so people who say they love the beach, you're looking at 40, 45 minutes, except for Playa Blanca, which is about 15, 20 minutes. But most people who live there drive. So you got to take that into consideration, right? So if you live in David, you have access to Uber. That's one of the cities where they have Uber. Not every city in the interior has Uber. All right. So like if you live in Chidre, Paravena, they don't have Uber. They have taxis, and they're very affordable. Um, a lot of people in those areas they rely on personal drivers, so you have some taxi drivers who become your personal driver. You just call them, you text them, and you say, of course, you have WhatsApp. Everybody uses WhatsApp here. And you say, oh, I need to go to the doctor on Wednesday. Are you available? And yes. And then he quotes you a price. He takes you, he waits on you. It's like you're booking him for that time that you're going to be gone. And I was talking this lady who lives in Indonesia. She said she does the same thing. She said when I book my driver, I try to do all my stuff in one day. I go to the doctor, get my hair done, get my nails done, go to the store. So it's like a whole day. So even if you were to charge somebody were to charge you $100, that's still cheaper than owning a car, right? So you get by. Personally, myself, I live close to a bus line. I'm like 3 blocks away to get to the metro, but I use Uber if I'm going somewhere in the middle of the day and it's really hot and I don't want to be hot and sweaty, or if I go somewhere, or if wherever I'm going is not accessible with the bus or a train, or if I'm dressed up, you don't want to go on a bus, you know, all dressed up. Or if I'm coming back home and it's like late at night, I don't try to get on the bus or metro late at night. I've been grocery shopping, just finished. Oh, okay. So you were on the road while you were listening. That's funny, Miss Eva. Um, and I think I did a whole live on medical insurance. So you better go look at that if you have any concern, because that is one of the major things for older folks. There's a young lady who moved here. She did consult with me, and then I put her in contact with a broker, and she said I think she's like in her 40s, and her insurance is going to be like around 250 a month, which is a good price if you look at it. I am looking at signing up for a plan that's going to cost me about 320 a month, but that one is with an international plan. If you find the two plans here, but they're not that good. They're like a discount plan. You're still paying like 30% of the fees. I mean, you go to the hospital and it says, "Oh, we're paying up to 750," and then it's 70%. 750, 750 cents. That's not a whole lot of money for you to pay for my emergency services. So it takes a lot of research to decide, because you don't want to come here bare, because there is no indigent care and you're going to have to pay to see your doctor. When you go to a hospital, before they even put an IV in you, you got to give your credit card. You got to pay for the IV before they put it in your arm. Remember that. So if you're in shock or you're dehydrated, where's your credit card? That's different. You're not used to that. There's no ER that is mandated to take care of you. No, man. So people need to really think about, before they move abroad, what is the medical situation and what is your medical condition? Are you so unstable that you need to see your doctor like once a month? May not work for you. Any other questions, guys? I'm all ears. This is your time to ask. All right. Well, Miss Eva was shopping. Groceries are becoming more expensive here, especially if you're going to go inside a grocery store. Like I went to this place this week and I bought one coconut. I bought 8 limes. I bought a papaya, two pineapple, a pack of spinach, and a bag of cherry tomatoes for $6. If you find those places, you're gonna save money on the natural, healthy stuff. But meat, you're gonna pay for. Fish, you're gonna pay for. Anything that is a brand, you're gonna pay for. Okay. In US, you still have to pay for Medicare. You don't pay for Medicare. You pay for your Medicare Part B. Yes. I mean, listen, I'm still paying for my Part B. I think it's like 170 some dollars a month. Yeah, you're paying for that. Um, I mean, you're gonna pay one way or another, right? Even if you have like this medical plan I'm looking at, it's got a $4,000 deductible. That means if I get admitted, I had to pay for that first $1,000. If it's an emergency, it doesn't apply, which is the good thing about this plan. But if it's I need a pacemaker, I need to have my hip done, my knee done, yeah, I got to pay for it. So, and that's why you work hard all your life, so you have something to pay for your care. Don't worry about leaving those your money for your kids. Take care of yourself. Oh no. Why'd you say oh no, Auntie Eva? Yeah. So I went to the fish market this morning and I bought some catfish. I think it was $4 a pound, which is better than what I would see in the States. So we don't have all the fish that you used to, like grouper and salmon. We don't have those here. But I tell people, whatever is available, that's what I eat. I don't worry about, oh, I want this, I want that. Mm-mm. And that's how you get caught in pain. You're looking, cheese is super expensive here. Thank God I don't eat cheese anymore. Meat, expensive. I don't eat meat. So when I go to the store, I was paying, I think my food cost was about $50 a week, I would say, give or take. Because if I go $45 in the store and then I go to the little farmers market and I buy the stuff that I just told you about, and I usually buy more than that because I didn't buy any peppers, I didn't buy eggplant, I didn't buy what else? I'm not heavy in fruits, but I'm more into vegetables. And then beans are all over the place and very affordable. So as a whole food plant based person, I'm in heaven because I can get the squash, the potatoes, the spinach. We have kale here, Swiss chard, carrots, onions. Yeah, those are pretty affordable, right? But if you start saying, "Oh, I want broccoli is expensive, cauliflower is expensive, berries are expensive, cheeses are expensive. If you want bacon, all that bad food that tastes so good, yes, very pricey." So if you don't eat those things, you save money. And then I can't eat bread. I love bread, but I can't. So I save money there too. So I eat a lot of beans, quinoa and then veggies, throw it together, make us, I call it a curry. And then I make ratatouille with eggplant, peppers, zucchini, squash. I love cabbage. I can just cook it easy. Peppers, mix it all up. So, and then fish. I love fish, so I try to eat fish maybe once or twice a week. That's my major source of protein. And then the beans, chickpeas, a lot of chickpeas, green peas, and quinoa. Quinoa is expensive, but I try not to eat it a lot because it's a grain and I am kind of carb sensitive. Yes. I was in the States in February and I was like, "Woo, look at those food prices." And I remember raising my kids. I had three. And I'm like, people have children? How do you feed them these days? That is scary. That is hard. That is hard. So you cannot be telling people to eat healthy when they don't have enough money to put food on the table. And now the food lines with the shutdown and all that, that breaks my heart. That really does. It wasn't even a hurricane. Sad. Oh, that tea's so good. I squeeze a whole lime in it. Yep. You do lime, the hibiscus flower, and then you put ginger. You're good. All right, guys. You are very welcome. Everything is high in the US. Yeah, I know. I know that I know that I know. Yep, went home, tried to sell my house, couldn't sell it. The market decided to go down and yep. All right, guys. Any other question? You know, I'm here for you. Hour and 15 minutes. If you don't have questions, I'm gonna have you seen? Yes, there is arugula. It's a little pricey, but there is arugula. Spinach usually comes hardy with the stem. That's pretty affordable. If you want the one that comes in the it's in a bag, usually in a container, that's a little pricier. Um, Somebody asked if I saw collard green. I have not seen collard greens here, but there is an American who has a restaurant. He said he found somebody who's going to farm the greens for him so he can serve it at his restaurant. But I have not seen collard greens. I'm having company for Thanksgiving. I'm calling it Friendsgiving, so I'm not looking for that. The green beans look different. I don't like it. The sweet potatoes do not look like our sweet potatoes. Yeah, the rice is the same, all the other stuff is the same, but a lot of things are different. So you kind of have to adjust. The first year I was here, I looked high and low for cranberry sauce, could not find it. It took me 2 months to find lemons. They have lime because this is South America, Central America. Lots of lime and avocados and stuff, but I could not find lemon. But now I found lemon. I'm always looking for okra. Okra is, hit or miss. When you see it, I get 2 or 3 packs, and then it could be weeks that I don't see it again. That's the way it is here. Yep, yes, we have arugula. And one thing that is a hit or miss for me is cilantro. I don't know why, but they have their own type of, they call it cilantro, but it's culantro, which is like a leaf, wider leaf. They use that a lot here. That's always abundant. But if I'm looking for cilantro, it's hit or miss. I'll see it one week or I don't see it, and then they put a bunch and they say 320, and I'm like, I'm not paying $2 for that. I'm too cheap for that. So I'm like, well, I have dry, what is it? I got parsley, perejil, and then I have basil, dry basil. I use dry spices too. Yep. Sweet potatoes are not the same. The sweet potato here, you cut it and it's white. I know when I was in the States in Florida, if I went to the um, Caribbean store, I can find we had a sweet potato we called boniato. Boniato is a type of sweet potato that was white. And I used to just pop it in the microwave and then open it up and put a little sour cream or butter, and it's like yum. But I found a Chinese place where I said, let me try this sweet potato, and it was nice and orange. So that's where I'm going to get that when I'm having my party. And that's the thing in Panama. Don't think you're gonna go to one store and find everything you need. No siree. You get this over here, that over there. So it could be a 3, 4 spots. Yeah, that's different. That's different. I think some of the things here that are most abundant. Let's talk about that. Fruit, Lots of pineapple. I mean, we grow that stuff, create, and it's amazing. They're usually like middle size, not too small like the one I used to have in my yard. And then they have farms and farms of it. So it's always in season. Yesterday I bought two of them for $1. Papayas are bananas. They were until we had that strike. I don't know if you heard about that. Well, Chiquita Banana had to leave because of the protests. Now they're supposed to be coming back. So that caused the bananas not to be as. I mean, we found it. They imported it. It's just a little pricier. Lots of apples, lots of pears, but not the brown skin pear, the green pears. Lots. We have a lot of grapes here, green and uh, is it red? Yes, but seeded with seeds. Watermelon we call sandia. Sandia, we have different kinds. Yesterday I went to that place and they had this little round, and they have all kinds of watermelon. So we have that. Oranges, mandarin, not tangerine. Somebody was asking me mandarin, very very popular. In fact, we have strawberries here. There is a place in the west part of the country where they have farms of strawberries. Not too bad. But blueberries, I think they import from Peru and it's not too expensive. The one that's the kicker is the blackberry. You're gonna get a little thing like that, especially around now. It's gonna be $8, $9, and I'm like, oh, I don't think so. I don't need it. Um, Kiwi is very popular here, believe it or not. Let's see what else do I see in terms of fruit. We talked about papaya, yes. Now, in terms of veggies, Panamanians are not big on greens, okay? But the thing that you're gonna see lots of carrots, potatoes, onions, um, lots of cucumbers. But certain stores you can find zucchini and squash. Not in every store. The typical Panamanian stores will not carry zucchini and squash. But we have specialty stores. Depending on who lives in that neighborhood, you can find certain things. Cabbage is very, lots of it. Squash, what we call calabasa, lots. I absolutely love calabasa. In fact, I would rather mash that like mashed potatoes than to do potatoes. Love squash. Um, Beets, lots of beets here. The radishes are like this big, huge. I was like, oh, these are radishes. We got the little ones. No, these are big. Other vegetables. The thing that I struggle to find are green onions. Their green onions are different. They have leeks, but the green onions are like really thin, and then they sell them like in a big packs, and then they're long, so they're different. So you could see that they were in the ground. So you really have to wash them really good. I found Swiss chards here, which is usually like $1 for a big pack, so that's cheap. Spinach, you're gonna find spinach. Like I say, I've seen squash in some, not the Panamanian store. They don't even know what that is. They have eggplant. I see eggplant a lot. Lots of peppers, green, yellow, red, but they're a little pricier. I don't know if they import those or not. Of course, avocado in season. I absolutely love the Panamanian avocados. They're like round and then with like a long neck. Oh, they're so good and buttery. The other day I went to my store and yes, plantains. I went to my store and I had a whole bushel of Hass avocado, from Mexico. I think they make them here too. But I usually don't go for the Hass. But they were like 50% off and I bought a couple and they were pretty good. But when the avocados are out of season, I don't even go for them because I'm really disappointed. So I'm like, okay. Mangoes. We have Panamanian mangoes. Not my favorite. And they import the regular bigger one from Peru. I don't care for those either. So the mangoes and I just. What else in terms of fruit? I think that's pretty much it. So you have choices, if you want to eat well. And of course, we have lots of yams and yuca. Yuca is abundant here. Okay, so you're buying yuca at 40 cents a pound. So sometimes they'll say 2 pounds for $1. So you're getting a lot of yam. And tomatoes are abundant, especially Roma tomatoes and cherry tomatoes. When you say cherry tomato, I said cherry. They call it tomate. That's what it's tomatoes. Tomate cherry. I buy a big bag like this for $1. And over there, they're a lot more expensive, right? Kiwi, grape seeds have health benefits. Yes. Pineapple, oh my God. If I don't have it a week, I feel like I'm missing something. And papayas, I love eating it and I love to put it in my smoothies. And we have soursop. Now it's pricey because when you get a soursop, they'll say $2 a pound. By the time they weigh it, it might be $10, $15 for one soursop. So me, it's like, that's okay. I don't need it. I don't need it. Let's see. Tomato, that's a sweet potato. Repollo, that's cabbage. I think we pretty much, yes, yes, yes. Oh, the other thing they have a lot here is the chayote. Chayote is that green veggie. Oh, it's really good. They have lots of that here. And I love it. Sometimes you can mash it or you could just um, can you find collard greens? I have not seen it. Everybody's looking for it. Plantains, how could I forget plantains? Yes, this is the Americas. Lots of plantains, green or maduros, which is the ripe one. Lots and lots of plantains all the time. Of course, rice is king in Panama. El arroz blanco, white rice goes with everything. Except during the holidays, they cook them with this little piece called guandu. Funny question, but do they have durians? I think I've seen them. I've seen them. What else do I see? They have pomegranate here. We have, another fruit they have a lot here is the passion fruit, maracuja. We have a lot of passion fruit here. Yes, I've seen the durians. Now, we have a big Asian population in Panama, and we do have a Chinatown area where if you're looking for sesame oil, I've been looking for kimchi and anything Asian. They use lots of soy sauce in their cooking because of the Chinese influence. Like fried rice is like a Panamanian thing. So, and me and soy sauce, I use very little of it. I went to that little place this week. Was it yesterday? Yeah. Like little mini farmers market, and I was shocked. They had butternut squash, and usually it's hit or miss. I'll see it, and then I don't see it. Listen, the squash they have here is so good. You don't need butternut squash. Even if you're gonna make soup, use the regular um, squash. They call it sapallo. Sapallo. Oh yes, when you cut it, so orangey and buttery. Oh my, so good. Yes. I was doing a butternut squash soup one day. I bought it and I regretted doing it because the regular squash they have here is so much better, way better. Yep, plantains, lots of plantains. Corn, oh my God. Now, because of the indigenous influence, like I tell people, this is their land, right? So lots of tamales, anything that is uh, corn based. They do like a corn porridge called shisheme. I'm not a fan. Um, I like the corn that I buy. I just kind of cut it lengthwise and then I mix it in my herb oil and I roast it in the oven. Oh, so good. You put it in salad. Oh, so good. Um, so lots of corn, and they mash corn a lot, and they mix it in with like with the veggies, with the peppers and onions, and then meat. They make their own sausages here called chorizo, and they eat lots of chicken, fish, but they do eat some meat. Even for breakfast, they have something called beefsteak, which is like a very thin layer of beef that's usually hard as a rock. People tell you the beef here is not good. If you're gonna eat beef, you want it imported from places like Argentina, right? And I don't eat beef, so I don't miss it. But they eat lots of pork. And the way they eat the pork, they either get the leg, like for the holidays, they're gonna do pierna de cerdo, they call it, leg of the pig. And then they take the bone out and then they mix it with all kinds of stuff, white wine and um, barbecue sauce, mustard, and veggies, and all kinds of things. And they cook that for the holidays. Pierna de cerdo. Pierna means leg. Cerdo is pork. Res is beef, or they say carne. They say carne, that means beef. Now they have ground beef, and I was like, what do they make with it? Because they don't make meatballs. Sometimes I see meatballs in the stores in the hot area for like lunch for people. But Panamanians themselves don't do meatballs. But what they use it in is those tamales. When they have the corn, that they mash the corn and they mix that, with veggies, put it on the corn and then wrap it in the banana leaves and then boil it. That's tamales. I don't think I've had one this since I've been here. I'm not a fan. But that is indigenous, right? That is part of the culture. So if you go to a fonda, the fondas are like not mom and pop necessarily, but you get truly Panamanian food here. And let me tell you what the Panamanian food is. You come to Panama. El sancocho, which is a soup that's the national dish of Panama. It's a very brothy soup that you do with chicken, and then you put nyame. Nyame is a type of white yam, and then you put culantro. Like I said, it's not cilantro. You chop a bunch of it in there, and then oregano. That's it. So wherever you go into a fonda, they're gonna have sancocho. Sometimes they'll have sancocho de pollo with chicken, or sancocho de carne. Carne means some kind of beef. All right. Then they have, and then once you order the soup, they're like, "Quiere arroz?" They always serve it with a side of white rice. Way too much white rice. Diabetes is like. Then there are the tamales, which is corn based. Then they have, sometimes they'll have lentejas, which is lentils. They'll have a pot of lentil, and they'll give you a mat of rice with a little scoop of lentil. And then chicken in some kind of gravy, some kind of sauce. Sometimes they have what they call chuletas. Chuletas is just like a pork chop but thin, and they'll cook it in another sauce. They use a lot of the gelatinous type of the pig or the cow, right? And then they cook it. What else do they have? If you're lucky, you'll see a vegetable mix of carrots and maybe chayote and no greens. They may have some chayote, carrots, and what else do they see? Maybe some cabbage. And sometimes they'll say, "Do you want salad?" And you're thinking it's lettuce, tomato. No, that's not what. Ensalada. Ensalada is like a coleslaw. Okay? So be sure if you say ensalada con lechuga, lechuga is lettuce. But if you say regular ensalada, it's a side of coleslaw, but the coleslaw with mayonnaise, be careful. Yes, hamburgers they do have, but in restaurants. You're not going to find them in a fonda because this is not a Latin Central American food. That's American food, right? So if you go to certain restaurants, yeah, and they have some restaurants like Michael's that cater to expats, so they'll have hamburgers. But remember, the beef is not that great, so your meat can be pretty rough. And to get a juicy burger, you have to have 20% fat, 80/20. I remember in my restaurant, I used to buy that. And that's just too much cholesterol, right? They love hot dogs. Yes, a lot. Hot dog. Um, Well, I don't know if it's covered in wax. She said, is the yucca cassava root covered in wax? I don't think so. Because we eat that a lot. I love yucca actually. Once you peel, it's so easy to take the skin off. And then you have to cut it in and take that spine that's inside. And you can boil it and mash it. Or after you boil it, then you season it, put it in the oven and make like yucca fries. It's really good. People fry, but I don't fry anything. I don't eat much corn anymore. Well, corn is something I used to stay away from because I saw it as turning into sugar, right? But I admit I don't eat it every week. Don't get me wrong. But when I get it and I shave it and then I put it in the oven, yeah, it's really good. So if you're making a salad, I think it's nice and it replaces the crouton because I'm trying not to eat the bread. Do they import beef? Yeah, you can get the beef from, like I said, Argentina is the closest country to us that has nice beef, they say. Remember, I don't eat meat. This is hearsay. But the cows, we grow them here. We grow them, we raise them. Goat meat can be more difficult. I think if you go to Cologne and certain Caribbean communities, I think people kill them themselves or they import them. Like you see the halal type goats, depending on how they kill the goat, all that religious stuff. I don't know. But last time I tried to eat a goat and goat meat and I got sick and I was like, that's the last. Yep. Seafood, lots of fish that looks like snapper. We have the red snapper, we have white snapper, and we have corvina. Corvina here is the most abundant fish, and someone said it is sea bass. I don't see cod, I don't see salmon, I don't see mahi. I found catfish last week and it tasted like catfish, so I had some more again today because it's good in soup because it's heartier. Um, they have other smaller type fish. They have different names. I don't know. I don't know that I see grouper. So the fish is different down here. So I just go by what's available. Lots of shrimp. Um, Crab is not real big. They import the big crab legs. The little blue crabs, sometimes you'll find some, but they don't usually look that fresh. So I'm like, leave it alone. But I get the fillet because I don't clean fish. And then once in a while, I don't eat shrimp like that. It's your cholesterol level. But they have a mix, and again, it comes in a bag. So it's like a mix of seafood and all kind of stuff. So if you're doing soups, you could do that. But I was like, I don't want clams and oysters and stuff like that in my food. So, oh yes, corn and good in soup. Yes, I think I'm making soup this Sunday and I'm gonna put a little bit of corn in there because if you're in the Caribbean and you make soup, you will have corn and you'll have dumplings. Greta Carl, oh my God, ¿cómo está mi amiga? Hola. Yeah, Let's see. I think we talked about food. So sometimes they'll do the rice with the beans, usually black beans, but not the guandu. The guandu is for the holidays, smaller, teeny white black beans. Lentejas. But once in a while you see maybe some red beans, but it's rare. Lentil is the one they cook the most here. And then they love pasta on top of the rice, okay? So they'll cook some kind of spaghetti pasta looking, and then they'll put on top of the rice. And I'm like, woo, that's a lot of carbs, right? And if you're lucky, like I said, you see a side of a little bit of a mix of vegetables, like an afterthought. But if you say ensalada, it's gonna be coleslaw. Then you have tamales, um, empanadas. Good lord, empanadas is just like a pastry that is filled with something. Sometimes they put sweet plantains in there. Sometimes they put meat and onions and peppers. Sometimes I've seen them put dry cod. Whether they have a name for it, bacalao they call it. So you do find dry or salted, I should say, salted cod that I love to cook with ackee. But ackee is something that when I come here back from the States, I bring in a can, and I haven't been to Cologne to see if they have it, but I'm sure if it's a Jamaican community, they have ackee there. But I do see that. Dry cod, salted cod. Somebody brought me a bag of cornmeal, and I realized this is exactly the texture of cornmeal I was missing when you do fish or whatever for the breading. But we used to cook it with tomatoes and herring. So I'm going to be on the lookout for herring. I didn't like it too much because it was too salty, but something about that with that cornmeal and some tomatoes, ooh, so good. And a slice of avocado. That was my breakfast as I was growing up. Yes. Um, they're not big on dessert here. Not big on dessert, so that's a good thing. So you'll see flan sometime if you go to a panaderia, which is like a bakery shop. You'll see they may have some slices of cake, but they're not big on desserts like we are. But empanada, whew, lots of it. And they have a fried bread here that's called hojaldra. Hojaldra is like the flour, the oil, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt, and they have a way they put it in their hand and with the leavener, and then they throw it in that hot grease and it puffs up. Oh, so good with a cup of coffee. Yes, sirree. This morning I was walking back from the fish. I said, okay, can I get it? Should I get a hojaldra? And I was talking to myself, saying, Maggie, you don't need to do that. And I was victorious. I didn't stop. I kept walking, and I'm like, yes, yes. But tomorrow, when I go to the store, when the bakery is coming out with the croissant, I make no promises. No promises. Oh my God. Sea bass, actually, it's pretty good. If you come to Panama and you go to a restaurant and you say you want fried fish with plantains, that's usually sea bass. Unless you ask for the snapper, they're gonna say corvina or pargo. Pargo is the snapper, but it's the same price. There's no difference to me. All right, let's see. In terms of drinks, lots of sodas. They drink way too much soda here. Cafe, 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 cafe. In the morning, they have to have cafe with the fried bread or haldra, empanada, or they'll have the shishami, which is the corn porridge. It's like in a cup, it's liquid. It's like the corn that's cooked with milk and cinnamon and other things. I don't particularly care for it, but yes. I grew up that my mom used to make something with maize, very, very finely ground with milk and cinnamon and stuff. but I try to recreate it here and it just doesn't come out right. So I left it alone. Of course, they have their own brand of beer. They have Balboa, other type of cerveza, wine in restaurants, but not like the regular folks. It's like the sodas, and they have a drink called Vigor, which is like an energy drink. I was just showing, short that. And then they have a limonada con raspadura. They do a lemonade, and then they sweeten it with a cane sugar here that we sell by the block, and we call that raspadura. So if you get a lemonade and it's like brownish in the bottle, that's what it's got in there. So they drink that too. Agua, water, not so much. Not so much. Oh, what else? So Panamanian dishes, sancocho, the soup, arroz, blanco, or with black beans, lentejas, lento, chuletas, which is the pork chops. They eat beef, chicken, lots of chicken. They have some pasta, some kind of pasta. Not like lasagna with cheese, but just the pasta in sauce. Tamales, yes. They do lots of grilled chicken on the grill, fire grill. They call it chicken pollo asado. They have that. Plantains, lots of plantains, fried plantains, everywhere you go. Yuca. Now there is a fund that will make yuca. It's not fried, but they cook it nice with like little green onions and stuff. I like that. Always yuca on the menu because yuca that's also indigenous, so they eat that a lot. What else do they have? Maduros sometimes. It's not Cuba, so they're not so much into maduros, but they have fried green plantains. What else do I see? Sopas, right? Sometimes they have the sopa with carne, or they have the sopa with seafood. Um, they have something called huacho. Huacho is like a risotto. It's like a soupy rice. They cook it with meat or with seafood. Guacho. They have ropa vieja. Ropa vieja is shredded beef in some kind of tomato sauce. That's from Spain. And that is the national dish of Cuba. All right. Um, they don't use too much potatoes except around the holidays. They make a potato salad with beets. It's called ensalada de fiesta. That's a holiday potato salad. That they will have around the holidays, like this week and Christmas and New Year, with the arroz con guandu and that leg of the pig. I see that some of them are cooking turkey now. Around the holidays, you'll see some whole turkeys and they'll cook it. Pavo, they call turkey pavo, Pavo. But you're not going to find pieces of turkey legs, turkey wings. Nah. You find some turkey breasts in certain in certain shops, but that's it. The whole or the breast, nada más. And there's no smoked wings, no. Smoke turkey necks, smoke pork necks or whatever. We don't have those here. Um, if you want salmon, it's gonna be frozen. You have to go to the place called Price Mart, which is like Sam's Club or Costco. We have one here, but we have Organica and some really what we call those specialty stores where they cater to expats. Like we have a Jewish area. They have kosher stuff, right? Healthy. Kind of reminds you of a whole food. You pay for it, but we have some of those here in the city. Mm, and around the holidays, they make something that looks like eggnog. They have a punch. They call it punche. They do a punch with fruit and wine. Um, What else do they do? I think that's pretty much. And then they have lots of fruits around the holidays. Lots of fruit. Mainly apples and grapes. All right, guys. Can you find brown rice? Oh, not easily, but I'm sure if you go to the specialty stores, you're gonna find some Uncle Ben's. The rice you find here is white rice, or they have something called arroz entero. Entero means wild, and it's not being bleached. So, and then it takes a long time to cook. I made the mistake of buying that. So that's not even brown rice. It's like some kind of rough rice that they haven't shaved it off, shaved the outer part off. I've seen that, but I haven't been looking for brown rice. If you're gonna look for jasmine rice, yep, you ate a lot of sweets at the festival. Oh yeah, the wasn't a lot. Come on, I had like two pieces of one baklava and then two little things that she called baklava, but they were round. I've never seen round baklava. And it had peanut butter, and that was good. It wasn't sweet, but yeah, once in a while you gotta live it up a little bit. I love my teas and lemon or pineapple water. Well, pineapple water, you know what I told you I do. When I cut off the pineapple, I save the skin, rinse it, cook it, and leave it in a jar, and I use that as a base for my smoothies. Can you find brown rice? I answered that. What about barbecued ribs cooked on charcoal grill and also jerk chicken dishes? Ooh. If you want jerk chicken dishes, you have to go to the Jamaican restaurants. We have four now that I know of in the city. You're gonna find your oxtail, your jerk chicken. I don't know if they do wings, but I'm pretty sure they do. Or if you go to Cologne, where they have a lot of Jamaicans, yes. Barbecue is not a thing here. Barbecue ribs. So Jeff, the guy who is the American who owned the restaurant now, I haven't been to his place, but they tell me you might be able to find it there. And people don't have those big, um, what do you call those? Those grills, like you have in the back of your house. And if you live in a building like I'm on the 38th floor, you're not allowed to have those. Those are considered fire hazard. So people who live in, um, in those not Jamaican, Panamanian type homes, yeah, you can have your grill in the back of your house. But in the city, it's a fire hazard. And fires are a big reality here in the city. In fact, I sent something to my ladies in the chat that 2 weeks ago there was an explosion in a high rise because you have everybody using gas, right? Sometimes there is a gas leak and boom. So far, two people have died. And every time they have an explosion like that, people die. My building is all electric and I love that. So I pay for that. But because even when I was at home, I was not comfortable with gas. I'm a cook. And they're like, oh, gas is better. And I'm like, go ahead, sis. I'm used to electric and that's what I look for when I was looking for my building. And that they supposed to do a gas inspection every 3 years. To me, that's not enough. It should be more like every year. Every 3 years, they have to check every single apartment. So depending on how many units you have, it could take a month, 2 months that they shut off all the gas and then check every apartment. And if anything needs to be fixed, it just takes longer. And in that time, no hot showers, you can't cook. So these folks have to buy electric plates or eat out or go off on vacation. But they have had gas explosion in this building and people have died. That is a reality of being in Panama. In fact, I think my TV station that I listen to, they say they're going to do a big program about it because, again, they're like, there's a little boy still in the hospital in the burn unit from that explosion. A doctor died and somebody else, yeah. And so they're like, who's going to compensate these families? Do you sue? Because they don't have the same mentality as the US that we're going to sue everybody. Mhm. It's an accident. We don't try to put the blame on everybody. That's just part of life. So barbecue, if you rent your own home in the back, yes, you can, but in the buildings, you cannot. Or certain restaurants that are catering to expats. Now listen, I take that back. There is a group here called Black Expats in Panama. Somehow, I think they found a chef who is doing southern meals for them on Sundays. So they say they have shrimp and grits, they get barbecue rib, they get wings, they get mac and cheese. So all the stuff from home they want to get here. But I don't eat like that, so they're not gonna see me there. Mac and cheese and all that fatty stuff, not for me. Mm-mm. I used to love turkey wings and thighs. I tell you, I've been here almost 3 years. One year I was like, oh, I want a turkey leg. I used to go to this place in Orlando. I can just visualize it. Fresh Field Market. Anybody who lives there knows where that is. So on one side they have all the fruits and veggies, and on one side they have the meat, just like we have here in San Felipe. So outside they used to have a little cubicle thing. You can have hot dogs. You can have a one wing, one chicken leg, or you could have like a little ice cream. So I used to love to go there and get a wing. The wing, not the wing, a turkey leg, and that thing was like almost close to $7. But if I was craving it, so I would eat it and then maybe not have it for another 6 months to a year. So I was looking for turkey legs here. I looked high and low. And finally, around the holidays, I found one. I cooked it and I was like, I was almost getting sick because, when you don't eat meat, when you go back to it, it does something to your system. So I'm good. Dates. You mean the dates that you use to sweeten things? Um, I think I've seen them in the stores like Reba Smith, one of those that cater to expats. Yeah, it costs you a bit, but I think I've seen it because I know the vegan, that's how they sweeten certain stuff. I personally haven't bought any date, so I don't know, but I know you can find it. What's tragic, Auntie Eva? Oh, I see recipes for turkey wings. You're not going to find turkey wings by themselves here. But at the store, the food stores where they have the hot plate, where they have like prepared lunch for the workers, I've seen turkey wings, I've seen meatballs. But you're not going to find them on the menu at a restaurant. Oh, the dates? Yeah. I eat them peanut butter. Oh, no. I'm pretty sure you're gonna find it. See, when you first get to Panama, you find your place, your stuff. So you know you always go back there. What I want you to know is that just because you found it there once doesn't mean next week you're gonna find it. So that's why if you love dates and you went someplace you saw it, buy a few boxes or two or three because you may not see it again. And dates are pricey anyway. But yeah, it's a nice replacement. People put it in their smoothies and other things to sweeten stuff. Yep. All right, guys. It is about 2 hours. I think I answered all your questions that you had at the end. Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, my philosophy is if it's not here, I can do without it. Yep. All right, guys. I'm going to sign off. Thank you for joining me. You see how the picture is starting to look crazy? Yes, the explosion. And it's not just that one. We get them, I think they said they've counted like 14 in the last few years. Explosions, and people have died. And then there was a program and they say, okay, I lost my mother in that explosion and no compensation because the justice doesn't move like it does over there. You don't have the Morgan and Morgans waiting to get your cases, people giving you their little cards. We don't have that here. The law, it doesn't work the same. Nope. And those are the kind of things that you have to, get used to. I read comments. Well, this doctor did this and that. I wonder how easy it is to sue them. Well, you're in a different country. Things don't work the same. No, man. All right, guys, you have a good night. Thank you for joining me. I hope you learned something and it was useful. All right. God loves you. Local food, yes, ma'am. Enjoy the local food, but don't eat at a fonda all the time. They're not that healthy. Okay, eat at home. Eat at home. Don't forget to give me a like, ladies and gents. Like the video on your way out. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Miss Deborah. I will see you on Monday, or if not tomorrow. Is tomorrow Sunday? Yeah, tomorrow Sunday. All right. Good night.